All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're breaking down the game-changing ideas in James Clear's Atomic Habits, specifically for busy professionals like you. Think of this less as theory and more as a practical playbook, a system for installing powerful habits directly into your daily routine. You know the feeling, right? You set these huge, ambitious goals. You tell yourself, this time it's going to be different. But a few weeks, or maybe even days later, you're right back where you started. It's this frustrating cycle. But what if I told you the problem isn't you? It's not your motivation. It's your system.
This right here, this is the core idea, and it's brilliant. Picture a plane taking off from New York, headed for LA. Now imagine the pilot adjusts the course by just 3 degrees. It's such a tiny shift, you wouldn't even notice it at first. But by the end of the trip, you're not going to miss LA by just a few miles. You're going to end up in a completely different country. And that's exactly how our habits work. These tiny, consistent changes determine your entire destination.
Okay, so what does this number mean? This is where it gets really mind-blowing. If you get just 1% better at something every single day, at the end of the year, you're not just 365% better. No, thanks to the magic of compounding, you are nearly 38 times better. This is the incredible, explosive power we're going to tap into.
So here's the game plan for today. We're going to start with the power of that tiny 1% improvement. Then, we'll cover a huge mindset shift, focusing on identity, not outcomes. After that, we'll get tactical with the 4 laws framework. We'll apply it to a real-world case study, show you how to lock in your progress, and then we'll end with a challenge you can start literally the second this is over.
All right, first up, the power of 1%. We're forgetting about massive, heroic efforts for a minute and focusing on the small, almost invisible decisions that truly shape who we become.
Just look at the difference here. It's night and day. That 1% daily improvement, whether it's in your skills, your health, your relationships, it explodes into massive growth. But, and this is a big but, the reverse is also true. A tiny 1% decline each day, a little extra procrastination, one poor food choice, it compounds downward until you're left with almost nothing. Your habits are always compounding. The only question is, are they working for you or against you?
Okay, but here's the catch, and this is super important. The biggest results are delayed. When you first start, you enter what James Clear calls the valley of disappointment. You're putting in the work, you're grinding, but you look at your results and nothing. It feels flat. This is the danger zone. This is where most people quit, right before the magic of compounding is about to kick in. You have to have the patience to push through this valley.
Okay, so that leads us perfectly into our next big idea. This is a complete mindset shift, and it's the foundation for making any of this stick. It's all about focusing on who you want to become, not just what you want to get. Now this idea right here goes against pretty much everything we've ever been taught. We're obsessed with goals. But here's the thing. Winners and losers in any field often have the exact same goals. Every Olympian wants a gold medal. Every job applicant wants the job. The goal isn't what sets them apart. It's the system they follow every day.
Let's really unpack this because it's a game changer. Hitting a goal is a momentary change. You run the marathon, you cross the finish line, and then what? For a lot of people, the motivation just vanishes. But a system is the process you follow. If your system is being a person who runs 5 times a week, the marathon is just a byproduct. Goals are for setting a direction, systems are for making progress.
Think of behavior change like an onion. It has layers. The outermost layer is changing your outcomes, what you get. The next layer in is changing your process, what you do. But the real magic, the change that actually sticks, happens at the core, your identity, what you believe about yourself. The goal isn't just to read a book, it's to become a reader. True, lasting change is identity change.
All right, we've covered the why. Now, let's get into the how. This is the tactical playbook. The 4 laws are your instruction manual for building good habits and dismantling bad ones.
So first things first, we got to understand how habits even work in our brains. They all run on this simple 4-step loop. It starts with a cue, which triggers a craving, that leads to a response, which delivers a reward. Think about your phone. It buzzes, that's the cue. You get that little itch, that I wonder who it is, that's the craving. You pick it up and check, that's the response, and you satisfy your curiosity, that's the reward. That loop, running over and over, is what makes a habit automatic.
So if that's the loop, how do we take control with these 4 laws? It's like a control panel for your brain. To build a good habit, you make the cue obvious, the craving attractive,
the response easy, and the reward satisfying. And to break a bad habit, you just flip the script. Make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. Simple, right?
Okay, enough theory. Let's put this into practice. We're going to build a habit from the ground up, creating a consistent morning workout routine. We'll apply each of the 4 laws, one by one.
Law number 1, make it obvious. See, vague plans like I'm going to work out more are doomed to fail. You need to be crystal clear. That's an implementation intention. You state exactly what you're going to do, where, and when. Then, you design your environment to make it impossible to forget. Laying out your workout clothes the night before isn't just about saving time. It's about creating a powerful visual cue that your brain can't ignore.
Okay, law 2, make it attractive. How do we make ourselves want to do it? One great trick is called temptation bundling. You pair something you need to do with something you want to do. Maybe you only let yourself listen to your absolute favorite podcast while you're on the treadmill. And just as important is reframing your mindset. You don't have to work out, you get to build a stronger body. That simple shift in language makes a huge difference.
Law 3 is maybe the most powerful of them all. Make it easy. When you're starting a new habit, the goal isn't a perfect workout. The goal is just to start. Use the 2-minute rule. Your new habit can't be do a 1-hour workout. It has to be put on my running shoes. Anyone can do that. You're making it so easy to start that you can't say no. You're just lowering the barrier to entry.
And last but not least, Law 4, make it satisfying. Our brains are wired for immediate gratification. The problem with working out is that the real reward, better health, is way off in the future. So we have to create a small, immediate win. You know what's surprisingly satisfying? Putting a big red X on a calendar. It's a visual signal of progress. And then you reinforce the identity. Say it out loud. I'm the type of person who stays active. You're telling your brain, hey, that was worth it. Let's do it again.
So, you've got the ball rolling. But how do you keep it going when life tries to knock you off track? That's what this next part is all about. Building unbreakable consistency.
Now, if you're really serious about not slipping up, this is a power move, the habit contract. You literally write down an agreement, sign it, and get an accountability partner to enforce it. The key is to make the consequences for skipping your habit immediate and painful. Maybe you have to pay your friend $20 every time you miss a workout. It uses social pressure and loss aversion to keep you on track.
And this might be the most important rule for long-term success. Never miss twice. Look, you're human. You're going to have off days. You're going to miss a workout. It happens. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to get back on track immediately. 1 missed day is an accident, but 2 missed days, that's the beginning of a new, bad habit. So whatever you do, don't let it be 2 in a row.
All right, we've walked through the whole system. Now it's time to put it to work. This isn't about just learning something new. It's about doing something new. This is your challenge.
So here it is, your first atomic habit. It's just 4 simple steps. First, pick one, just one, habit to start with. Second, shrink it down so it takes less than 2 minutes. Read every day becomes read 1 page. Third, state your intention. I will read 1 page at 10 p.m. in my bedroom. And that last step is the most critical one. You start today, not Monday, not when I feel like it, today. That tiny 2-minute action is your first step to becoming 38 times better. So what will yours be?